Tom Homan came up in almost every conversation that was had today, both on and off air, because we're all excited about what's going to come from this. And he doubled down on his plans to deport people and specific groups of people in particular in this interview here. Take a listen.
How are you going to deal with Democrats in blue sanctuary cities and states saying they will oppose you?
They got to get out of the way because we're coming. Now, I'd much rather work with them and target because, it's clear that we're going to target public safety threats and national security threats first. That's our priority. And I would think any elected representative, a mayor, a governor, especially the police chiefs, would want to work with us to remove public safety threats and national security threats out of their states. But if they don't want to help, fine. Just get the hell out of the way because ICE is going to do their job and they're not going to stop it.
So if you say in New York City, you're going to double the manpower to get it done?
We have to. I mean, look, it'd be nice to have a force multiplier. It'd be nice if they give us access like Rikers Island that we used to have. But if they're not going to let us in the jails, arrest the bad guys, we'll have to wait till they release the person, which means we got to go to the neighborhoods and find them. That's going to require more agents. So if I have to send more agents to a sanctuary city, that's exactly what I'm going to do because we have a mission. As you said earlier, we have a mandate for the American people. They want this fixed, and we're going to fix it with or without mayors and chiefs of police.
All right. So Tom Homan laying it out saying we're coming. We're going to let and look, there's some parts that you can kind of disagree with or pick apart in his response there. I think most of it good. Letting ICE do their job, good thing. Following our laws, good thing. But what did you make of all that, Tom?
I agree. I think you start with the criminal element that's in the country that are illegal aliens. They need to go first. That's top on the priority list. We did a story a couple of weeks ago about, was it 13,000 murders and 15,000 sexual offenders. Yeah, those of course are high up on the list. The caveat that I have with this is when the federal government, especially federal law enforcement, goes into local jurisdictions and starts executing arrest warrants and not getting the help of the local, especially a sheriff's office. That kind of concerns me, not for what they're doing, but for how this is going to be used by the left down the road when it comes to their ultimate goal of federalizing the police. So I think, whatever steps they take to make this happen, I'm cautiously optimistic because I don't want it to come back on us. And for, if the left gets in charge again saying, you know what? We're not going to have local police anymore because we're going to do what we want. And we already set the precedent with the mass deportation of all the illegal criminals.
Yeah. No, that could come back to bite all of us in the ass in a big way down the road for sure. We've talked about federalizing things and just there's nothing but bad. It's only pitfalls when you go that route. So it has to be executed the right way. And that's the problem is we talk about this a lot too. There's going to be, and there needs to be in some areas, and it needs to be done the right way, and it's tricky, and it's a balancing act to do it, but there has to be some overcorrections to fix some of these nasty precedents that we've set and some of these awful situations that have been growing and festering in this country. But the problem is when you have an administration, any administration, just kind of the typical seesaw effect that happens in politics, you go and you make a lot of these things. And like you're referring to, if Trump goes and has a killer 4 years, but then we lose, and things like this set them up for things that will hurt us down the road, that's a big problem. So we have to be, but at the same time, you got to just go for it too.
Right.
So it's a tough thing. I understand the predicament that Trump and his team are going to be in because, well, what if we push hard and then this is used against us? Well, that's a real concern. But you also still have to push, and you got to find, okay, how do we accomplish our goal when it comes to deportation and illegal immigrants? The way that they're doing it, at least to start, with focusing on violent gang members, focusing on cartel members, focusing on known terrorists, focusing on people like that is certainly the way to go. But it does open up doors.
Yeah, it does. And I guess, the Patriot Act has scarred me for life. I know that, you've talked about it in the past and, and the positive outcomes that it's been used for. But once it starts getting weaponized against American citizens, I look through every topic now of how can this issue, even though, on paper I'm for it, but how can it come back and be weaponized against your average civilian?
And it always is. I mean, the Patriot Act has been used for good, was used for good, still is used for good, but it's also been used for bad and turned on the American citizens now, and that's the freaking issue.